we are going to learn how to work on writing part 2 from the PET exam. In this part of the exam, you are asked to write either an article or a story. So, you have one question with two possible options and you have to choose only one. You should write your answer in about 100 words on the answer sheet. So, what are the two possible options? One is an article, the other is a story. So, to write the article, you are given an announcement or like an advertisement of a magazine or a website. These will be essential information that you use as a guide to write. In case of the story, in case you write it, then you are given the first sentence of the story. So it is obligatory for you to include it in your story. So you are given the context and the first sentence. For this part of the exam, you have a maximum of 20 marks if we talk about the marking scheme. But what is it tested? Well, you are tested on 4 different things. 1, content. And this is connected with including all the required information in the instructions. 2, communicative achievement. And this is connected with you being able to communicate your ideas successfully and accurately. This means correctly. Then, organization of ideas. So, you are tested on the layout of the writing or the answer. And finally, language. Language is connected with the use of vocabulary and grammar, which should be correct. Today, we are going to start talking about stories. That is one of the options that you have to choose to write. So, how can we work on it? Let's see some tips. First, as usual, read instructions very carefully and so the opening sentence, because these will help you a lot to define what you should write. So it is essential that you read every single part of the rubric very carefully. After that, you should define who, when, where, what, why, and how. What do we mean by this? Well, this is the information you will include in your story, the part of brainstorming ideas. So, when we ask the question who, we talk about the characters of our story. When we ask the question when and where, we talk about the setting, that is, time and place, where this story, when and where this story takes place. Then, we should talk about what and why. That is connected with the conflict, the problem of our story, the main part of the story actually. And finally, how, that is, the steps that the characters follow in order to find a solution to the conflict. Of course, once we have all these, we can start organizing our ideas. So we should plan how we are going to divide all this information in different paragraphs and doing it appropriately. How can we do it? Well, mind maps or graphic organizers are very useful. Then we are going to see or study some of them. But here you have some examples. So once you have all those ideas clear and especially organized, well, we should respect certain layout in all stories. This means that you should write a title for this story, an introduction, that in this case is the exposition, then the body, that in this case is the action, and finally the conclusion or solution or resolution as you have it in here in the picture. Remember that you always have to start your story with the sentence provided in the instructions. Such is the case of this story in particular. We don't have the instructions here, but the instructions said, write a story with this sentence, with this opening sentence. Tim felt angry as he got off the train. You should pay attention to this opening sentence because it will give you information that is essential to be included in your story. For example, the main character's name should be Tim. There is no other way you can change that. Then this feeling, right? He got off the train. So this means that this is our conflict. We cannot change it. So we should start working from there onwards. That is our beginning of the story. Then we start discussing and inventing some other new ideas which can be connected to the opening sentence that appears in the instructions. Once you can organize your ideas, write it. Once you finish it, check it. Remember, don't hand in before you check spelling, grammar, and punctuation. You should also check that you respect the layout appropriately, as we have seen it before, and that you use the opening sentence as required in the instructions. So, this is an introduction to the writing paper part 2, particularly how to write a story. I hope this information has helped you, and later we will study the other parts of the exam.